अनमोल.
हाँ अभी लंदन शिफ्ट हुआ.
Okay.
Okay, we are live. Yeah, that's how things are going to start, and for the next hour, it's going to remain as casual as we are. Hello, and welcome back to the LFC Ahmedabad podcast, where we are all glad that the 22-23 season is finally over, and this is actually the funnest and the best video I always look forward to. It's the season review. We look back at things, we look forward at things, we cry together, we laugh together, and I'm fortunate enough to join Anukarsh here from the Indie Football Podcast. Hello, Anukarsh. Welcome to one of our
Hi guys.
first podcasts.
Yeah. Hi guys. And वत्सल भाई बिल्कुल सही बोला. Funniest part of the season है because season इतना funny था हमारे लिए. But
So,
yeah, thanks for having me here. It's a great pleasure. आपसे अनमोल भाई से and like we have had you guys on our own podcast and it's great to be on LFC Ahmedabad. चलो बकचोदी काटते हैं और मजे करते हैं.
हाँ मतलब and as usual, how can I not say the word dream team when Roshan and Anmol are here? So good to have you guys as well.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anukarsh, I will start with you since you are the guest here today, and we have a lot to talk about. We have our good form towards the end of the season. We have some major outgoings. We have some potential big incomings happening this season. So, in typical LFC Ahmedabad fashion, how was the IPL?
अच्छा लगा. धोनी जीत गया लास्ट में. टोटली वर्थ इट. तो लास्ट वाली बॉल मुझे लगी कि मतलब ना आई नो अनपॉपुलर ओपिनियन पर लोगों को लगता है कि आईपीएल थोड़ा सा फिक्स्ड है तो मुझे लास्ट बॉल पे लगा वो वाली बॉल ना बिल्कुल वाइड जा रही थी लेग साइड में. बट या आई एम हैप्पी धोनी डिजर्व्ड इट जैसे भी था इवन इफ दैट वाज द स्क्रिप्ट इट वाज टोटली वर्थ इट. एंड
There you go.
वही है कि दिमाग से तभी फुटबॉल में चलता है और अभी चार लोग जैसे बॉक्स में है ना मुझे लिवरपूल की मिडफील्ड याद आ रही है. एंड आई थिंक आई एम
अरे
ट्रेंड
यार,
राइट नाउ.
अभी आपने मिडफील्ड वर्ड बोल ही दिया है तो बोल शुरू करते हैं मिडफील्ड से.
देखो
रोशन,
इसे you should be Sunrisers fan. तुम्हारा आईपीएल पहले ही खत्म हो जाता है. इतना टेंशन ही नहीं रहती.
Roshan, let's start with season ratings. Like, how much do you rate this season out of 10?
Entertainment value 10.
Okay,
True.
nice.
Season I would say 6 out of 10. Like, I mean, it could have been worse, but we did pretty well in the last 7-8 games.
Yeah, makes sense.
Finishing top, I didn't think we would finish top 5 though. मतलब हम लोग 9th 10th थे. We were very close to Chelsea. Chelsea had signings, and so we thought they would perform really well and they would go up. And then we had two teams like Brentford हमसे ऊपर था, and then Aston Villa हमसे ऊपर था. So we thought that they could probably beat us at the end of the season. But ठीक है, like things worked out for us and we finished 5th. I think best case scenario, we finished with the best case scenario, to be honest.
Makes sense. Anmol, do you think 6 out of 10 is fair, judging by how our season has been? Because you have been quite, how shall I put it in good terms, quite critical about how our season has gone this season.
I think
so far.
For me, more precisely, I think it's 4.5.
Okay, he's
Because
giving
I
that
think
0.5, guys.
starting of the season expectation, Hamari obviously like chasing for all 4 trophies, and in the first place, we shouldn't be in this position.
Yeah,
makes sense.
So, getting knocked out from the League Cup and the FA Cup in the 4th round, 5th place. Chalo, end of the season form अच्छा था, but this should be the form of Liverpool from the starting of the season. Champions League also, it's not about getting knocked out by Real Madrid, but the way we got knocked out, that is more important. Like if it was like a 3-2 aggregate score, like or like a 4-3 something like a close match, so it would have been a different thing. But no trophies, no top 4. I think 4.5, 4 or even 4. I think I would, to be like rounding it off, 4. I think would be my season rating.
Yeah, Anukash, we have had a 6, we have had a 4. So which side of the fence do you sit on when it comes to a season rating out of 10?
Somewhere in the middle, more inclined towards Roshan bhai, a 5.5 for me. And वो 0.5 में इसलिए दे रहा हूँ last में because I think मुझे जो personally लगा, what I felt was कि the season was lost in moments. Like I'll tell you what, I have some observations from it. Brentford वाला match था. Nunez was through on goal. Nunez tries to, मतलब he's through on goal and then Ben Mee comes in, blocks that shot. ठीक है. Bournemouth वाले मैच अगर हम जीत जाते, we would have been for the first time in the top 4, I guess, उस टाइम पे. Tottenham थी, उनसे आगे पहुंच जाते उस टाइम पे. We Salah missed a penalty. We lost that match. अनमोल भाई ने बात की अभी रियल वर्सेस लिवरपूल की. I think that's the quintessential example. I'll tell you why. We were winning 2-0, ठीक है, and there was this chance where I think Gakpo was a couple of yards away from goal. कुछ भी हुआ, बहुत सारा कुछ box में कुछ mash up हुआ, जो भी हुआ, whatever happened. In that whole scuffle, the ball didn't go in. Vinicius scored on the other side. Alisson से एक हल्की सी चूक हुई, and then the game went downhill. है ना? Again, one last example, Newcastle versus Leeds. I was watching that match. I wasn't expecting Leeds to do well. Leeds scores a goal. Leeds ने एक goal मारा. They scored a goal. What happened was, this guy Patrick Bamford, he ends up missing a penalty. He scores that penalty. Maybe Leeds goes on to win that match, and it becomes a whole different ball game altogether. I personally feel this season was lost in moments. I know we were terrible. मैं मना नहीं करूँगा. We were terrible. But जो top 4 और जो 5th की वो है position में वो Arsenal वाला even जब जोटा ने shot मारा था, handball हो गया था Arsenal के player को. I just felt there were certain moments. अगर वो work कर गए होते, maybe we would have got a Champions League spot. That's just my opinion.
I think if we shouldn't. We are Liverpool. It's like we shouldn't rely on someone else to drop points for us to get into the top 4.
Yeah.
And based on our last 5 seasons, like 5th is like considerably थोड़ा below par.
मैं बताता हूँ ये सीजन कैसा रहा है. ठीक है, तो ग्रुप में बातचीत चल रही थी, तो मैंने तो ऐसा डाल दिया था कि यार ये सीजन तो कोई भी टाइटल नहीं जीते. बोलते अरे जीते ना एक. I took 5 minutes, like 10 मिनट कौन सा जीते है भाई, कौन सा जीते है बता. मेरा कम्युनिटी शील्ड में बोला यार इतना इनसिग्निफिकेंट हो गया ना वो ये सीजन की वजह से. ऐसा like we could have celebrated it if we finished like Champions League. Like हमारा सीजन ऐसा गया कि can't even remember the trophy we won.
To be honest, I am I am more inclined towards the rating which Anmol gave rather than what Roshan gave, and I would like stand at 5 if I'm completely honest, because I completely agree that us being Liverpool shouldn't finish 5th in the first place. Like if you look at who is in that top 4, you have United and Newcastle. Like मतलब 2 big names in world football, but उनका recent season या recent history देखा जाए तो yes they have made good signings. So what? But based on how their recent past has been, we have been showing better performances. We have been showing better, like off field and stuff like that. So I feel like those 2 teams we should have finished above, solely based on what we have been what's happening in the past few years. Yes, Roshan.
One thing that you have to see, that teams that start well eventually end doing very well. So we did not start very well at all ourselves. Technically,
Yeah.
तुम देखोगे first 7 games में we won 1 or 2, we draw
1 or 2, yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
which
we
is very
drew
surprising because
Right.
last I think 4 to 5 seasons I think we win the first 3 games.
Yeah, exactly.
Since I think
We usually start very
average
strongly.
Yeah, we start very
so
strong.
we did not start strongly, and then वो momentum फिर kick नहीं होता है ना, तो then now you're wondering कि अरे हमने एक ही मैच जीता, हम 2 मैच जीते, अभी क्या चल रहा है.
Confidence पे वो
exactly.
I think बता रोशन भाई.
Yeah, go ahead.
मैं बस वही बोल रहा था कि and लोग माने या ना माने, maybe they take it as an excuse, but the last season was a long season for
Do you think Mane himself is the excuse?
नहीं भाई,
नहीं
माने होता तो माने भी कुछ नहीं कर, like so
कुछ नहीं पता.
I will get flagged for saying this, but there haven't been any match where Mane ne jitwaya. Like everybody is playing bad and Mane has 2 goals and scored a hat-trick or scored 2 goals. Mane has always been amazing when 1 or 2 people are playing with him,
Contributing
so
as well.
if you're
Yes.
saying कि Mane को निकाल दिया और उसके वजह से ऐसी बात है, that's not true at all for me.
I think
And
that's a question I wanted to ask, and Anmol, I'll get to you in this regards. Ki last season we played 63 matches. Matlab last season in the sense I mean 21-22 season.
Previous season.
63 games. Do you think that fatigue carried forward in this particular season? Do you think that's the reason why we started so slowly? Or do you think that could have been a contributing factor?
I think it's not fatigue, but I think we collectively it's I think everything, a mix of everything. Injuries, fatigue, lack of tactics,
Hmm.
Klopp
Makes
नहीं,
getting out
sense.
of ideas,
the other
or
thing is
players like hitting like a mental block.
right,
They
exactly.
Yeah,
don't know
that's
what's
the point.
going
Yeah.
on.
You could never predict that ki when does a player that you have just stops playing football, you know. And
Hmm.
Yeah,
और तो एक just taking another perspective, look at Man City. Even let's say Man City, अगर Man City हमारे position में होता है, I guess था भी, like they didn't play as many, maybe 7-8 games less than us, but even playing 55 plus games, it's still bigger deal, right? तो सिटी जैसा टीम अगर हमारे पोजीशन में होता, they would not have had this problem because they have a good squad depth. उन्होंने रोटेट किया है. हमारे पास इशू ये था कि we were playing with a set of 15 players and we played 60
right.
games with 15 players.
Yeah.
Plus
And
our
so
injuries now. If you look
exactly,
at our
exactly.
injuries
Hmm.
also, like our medical department had a total flop show this season. अगर
हाँ,
Jota, Diaz, I think रहे होते इस season, then or even Thiago for that matter. Thiago तो खैर हर season का ही हो गया. So I would say things wouldn't have been that bad because
yeah.
if you look at it on paper, अगर मेरे पास तीन forwards थे, Nunez जो start of the season में थे, Nunez, ये
Hmm.
Diaz और साला, और बाद में मेरे पास bench में Firmino और वो आ रहे हैं, क्या बोलते हैं, जोटा, देन आई वुड बी वेरी हैप्पी विद दैट फॉरवर्ड लाइन. गैक्पो तो बाद में आ गया व्हेन प्लेयर्स गॉट इंजर्ड.
Makes sense.
एंड आई जस्ट मतलब आई जस्ट फील दैट लाइक आई नो मिडफील्ड वाज अ थिंग, बट वो वाली चीज थी ना कि आज injuries are so many. And if you look at it, like players like Fabinho was out of form. Bacetic बाद में थोड़ा ठीक खेल रहा था, उसके बाद he also got injured.
Injured, yeah.
Thiago got injured. So injuries kept on happening all the time. And we don't realize this, पर Fabinho और Henderson जितने injured होते हैं normally season में, हमें दिखते नहीं है वो केटा और ऑक्सलेड चेम्बरलिन के आगे, आर्थपुर के आगे, पर वो लोग भी अच्छा से इंजर होते हैं. अगर देखिए Fabinho, Henderson, Curtis Jones for that matter, इन लोगों की इंजरीज नॉर्मल नहीं है फॉर एनी अदर क्लब जितने
But
लोग होते हैं.
yeah.
I think for me, I think it's based on form as well, and
Absolutely.
form of two players. Because based on my observation also, because Fabinho and Trent were out of form the first half of the season, first and thoda second part maybe.
Yeah,
भाई
3/4 part of the season.
एग्जैक्टली मैं 25 गेम ले ले 30
हाँ, 3/4
38
game
में
तो
से.
था.
Or
I think. हाँ.
since
Go
the
ahead,
second,
Anmol.
once both these players hit form, I think we started killing games like we used to.
Yeah, I think that's a good point he's made, because when Trent started in that new kind of right back / midfield role is when we actually picked up form, and his movement and his kind of play then transferred onto Fabinho in a manner.
वही
तो
वही
ट्रेंट का फॉर्म फबिनियो से फबिनियो का फॉर्म ट्रेंट से अच्छा हो गया, एंड इन दैट इन टर्न ओवरऑल अपना पूरा फॉर्म like towards the end of the season was better.
अरे
वो है
सिंपल
ना मैथ्स में बोलते हैं ना, 2 negatives make 1 positive वाली बात हो गई.
That's yeah, exactly.
नहीं. सो उसका एक रीजन ये भी है कि फेबिनियो के पास प्रेशर था टू इवन प्रोटेक्ट एज वेल एज टू क्रिएट समथिंग इन मिडफील्ड विद ऑल द इंजरीज. ही वाज सपोज्ड टू बी डूइंग बोथ द थिंग्स. अभी बिल्कुल भी मैजिक नहीं है ये सब. इट जस्ट ऑल मेक सेंस. तो ट्रेंट ने क्या किया है, ट्रेंट ने आके बस ही हैज स्टार्टेड टू ड्रॉप बॉल्स बिहाइंड डिफेंडर्स व्हिच डिफेंडर्स वर नॉट एक्सपेक्टिंग. ही हैज अ गुड पासिंग रेंज एंड उसने बोला कि मैं सिर्फ पास करेगा आगे. जैसे हम बोलते हैं कि राइट बैक पोजीशन में होता है तो वी से कि ट्रेंट बस बॉल डालता है, लाइक ही क्रॉसेस, बट दैट्स द होल पॉइंट, राइट? यू पुट इन क्रॉसेस, 4 में से 3 जाएंगे और उसमें से 2 कनेक्ट होंगे लाइक फॉरवर्ड्स को. सो द अमाउंट ऑफ पासेस ही पुट इन, एंड कंसीडरिंग कि उसके पासेस का क्वालिटी भी बहुत अच्छा है, now we had forward passes for the forwards to attack to, तो the forwards अच्छा खेलने लगे. तो I think it was just that हमारा midfield penetrative passes कर ही नहीं पा रहा था. Not even penetrative, we were not able to give the ball to forwards. हमारे forwards को बहुत ज़्यादा fall back करके carry करके ले जाना पड़ रहा था, and that is not easy to do. Week in week out नहीं कर सकते हो. And
Yeah.
especially you can't do it with wrong people, like you need ball carriers like Gakpo. जब वो आया तब at least थोड़ा forward active हुआ, क्योंकि now he can deep positions में जाके he could carry the ball.
carry the
तो
ball.
Gakpo के पहले तो forward कुछ भी नहीं था, like it was just a snooze fest. तो
जिसका भी स्लो स्टार्ट था.
हाँ,
Yeah.
he started
Four,
slow,
five games.
exactly. तो आई फील हमने कुछ ज्यादा चेंज नहीं किया, हमने बस इतना चेंज किया कि ट्रेंट को मिडफील्ड में लेके आए, जस्ट बिकॉज हिज पासिंग एबिलिटी इज मच सुपीरियर देन ऑल द फिट प्लेयर्स और अनफिट प्लेयर्स हु आर कमिंग बैक, एंड इट जस्ट हेल्प. तुम स्ट्राइकर को 10 बार बॉल दोगे तो 5 बार मारने की कोशिश करेगा, उसमें से 2 गोल जाएंगे. सो 10 डालने
और
के लिए चाहिए.
न्यूनेज होगा तो वो दोनों ही मिस हो जाएंगे.
नहीं यार, न्यूनेस
नहीं, जो सा पार्ट आई थिंक न्यूनेज हैड अ
had a
decent
very
season.
considering इतना बेकार हमारा मिडफील्ड था, he had a
हमारे
great.
पास आई
Over
थिंक
15
रोशन भाई
goals
आप भी रेजोनेट करोगे. हाँ एग्जैक्टली, लाइक आई थिंक आप सभी रेजोनेट करोगे. वी हैव हैड फॉरवर्ड्स लाइक बालोटेली, बेन टके, बोरिनी, लैम्बर्ट, और दिस गाय स्कोर्स 15 गोल्स. वो भी उसको आधे टाइम लेफ्ट
और
विंग
it's
पे
the
खिलाया है,
start
आधे
at
टाइम
the
स्टार्ट
first.
नहीं. हाँ,
अरे
स्टार्ट नहीं किया आधे मैचेस.
I still remember जब लैम्बर्ट, ओरिगी और लालाना आए थे ना, तो हमारा फॉरवर्ड लाइन ऐसे सब, लाइक सबके फॉरवर्ड लाइन का फर्स्ट इनिशियल हमारा लॉल.
आई नो.
The whole season was that.
मार्कोविच जब आया था एक बार टीम में, when
Serbian
one match he
Messi.
had against.
Streaks
भाई
won't forget kind of players.
भाई कुछ भी
भाई.
कर ले, उसने संडरलैंड के अगेंस्ट जो गोल मारा था वो वसूल है, आज तक याद
यार,
रहेगा.
हाँ,
मेरे को
अरे
याद नहीं.
यू रिमेम्बर जो सैंडरलैंड के अगेंस्ट एक शॉट मारा था, वो क्रॉस बार को नहीं, उसको हिट किया था पोस्ट को उसी मैच में,
Oh,
एंड ही
okay.
हैड अ ब्लाइंडर. वो एक मैच था जिसमें
बस
मार्कोविच चला था,
एक
एंड
बस. You remember, right?
वही
See,
याद
that's
है.
why he is पैसा वसूल in
बट
LFCs.
बट ऐसा तुम एक गेम बता दो नाबी का कि याद रहे, उसने इतना
United away 5 minutes.
यूनाइटेड अवे,
What a performance!
आई स्वेयर
ठीक है, चलो,
आई
Chelsea, Chelsea also, I think,
बोलो.
Premier League champion the day we were crowned champions.
Oh, 5-3.
हाँ
5-2,
हाँ,
5-2 or
Chelsea.
5-3, I think.
5. Yeah, that game. Yeah. The one where we lifted the trophy
बट एक
afterwards.
चीज
ना?
में बोल, वो क्लॉप ने एडमिट किया फाइनली, उसने क्लॉप नहीं बोला था कि हम नाबी को लेके आए, हमने बहुत पैसा दिया, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली उसका, लाइक ही वाज वेरी डिप्लोमेटिक अबाउट व्हाट ही सेड, बट देयर वाज एक्सेप्टेंस फ्रॉम हिम सेइंग कि नाब, मतलब वो मीडिया लैंग्वेज है, टेक्निकली अपने लैंग्वेज में
हाँ.
नाबी वाज अ फ्लॉप, लाइक ही सेड
Yeah.
नाबी वाज अ
Like,
फ्लॉप.
वो रोशन ये अच्छी बात की है यार. Like, I like that you have brought Klopp into this equation now, and I wanted to get to what exactly went wrong. Was it the players who were underperforming from the start? Do you think there was manager who was being stubborn with his tactics in a manner? What exactly went wrong according to you guys? Because personally, मुझे पूछो तो I feel like the manager doesn't have a lot of blame attached to this season. I think he was fielding the best side possible, but the players weren't contributing. I want to know what exactly you guys feel about this situation.
मैं स्टार्ट कर देता हूं, देन
हाँ.
अनमोल और अनुका should take it.
Yeah, no problem.
I
Yeah,
feel problem is threefold. Players bhi, they have to take responsibility because they are the 11 that are playing. Manager bhi, because it is like, well, Klopp को तुम बोल सकते हो, he's a stubborn manager, so you stick with one thing
Exactly,
that you
yeah.
know, and you just think it just works out for you, like you're praying for it to work out. And then backroom stuff जो चल रहा था, with we didn't have any medical staff, doctors का issue,
Director of
backroom,
football.
that, and there were a lot of backroom stuff that was happening, and then बीच में FSG was like, we are going to sell, now we are not going to sell, we are going to have investors, so there was a lot of uncertainty in the background itself. So तीनों जगह पे प्रॉब्लम था. Would I think कि कोई भी एक सॉल्व होता तो होता? I don't think so, because you still have 2/3 of the problem left. तो कोई भी एक सॉल्व कर लेते. तो I think threefold problem है. अगर एक स्पेसिफिक प्रॉब्लम होता तो आई थिंक इट वुड हैव बीन एड्रेस्ड. लेट्स से अगर मैनेजर होता तो मैनेजर को निकाल देते, अगर प्लेयर्स होते तो प्लेयर्स को बेंच कराते. अपने पास चॉइस भी नहीं था इंजरीज की वजह से.
Exactly.
आई थिंक वी जस्ट वर लाइक अनलकी दैट हर जगह से वी हैड प्रॉब्लम्स. ऐसा कुछ नहीं था कि यू कुड पिन पॉइंट टू वन स्पेसिफिक इशू.
Anmol, your thoughts on this same?
I think I agree with Roshan, but for me, this problem has been since the problem started since 3 years. before 3 years.
Yeah.
Because if you see City, they keep refreshing their squad every season.
Mm-hmm.
They get new players. Defense में अगर कोई चला नहीं तो they got Ake, they got Akanji. Midfield में नहीं चला तो चलो now Gundogan is leaving तो they're getting Kovacic.
Mm-hmm.
भाई
Forward
Guardiol
में
भी आ
they're
रहा
getting
है.
हाँ
They might get Guardiol also for center back because Stones
so
is playing midfield, right? So they might
yeah
get Guardiol.
Yeah.
so forward में they got Alvarez as well, Haaland
Hmm.
obviously. So we haven't been active in the transfer market. Like we
True.
have been, but not for all positions.
Yeah.
Defense has been very stagnant.
Fair comment. Yeah.
For only forward because Chalo Mane was leaving, we had to get in a top striker. But we forgot about the two positions, midfield and defense, where
Hmm.
we struggled a lot.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think
True.
this has been a problem. If you see Real Madrid also, the they know that Cruz, Modric, and Casemiro he left, but they are going to leave eventually. So they started making their midfield strong 2 to 3 years before. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so they got Kamavinga, they got Chouameni, they got one more player, I think, Valverde as well.
Yeah, they're getting
So
Bellingham soon.
I
Bellingham,
think best part of the show is Roshan भाई ने जब smile किया चौमिनी बोला
Sorry.
अनमोल भाई
And the thing is, his name is
I
such pun worthy, na. So,
I know
Uh-huh.
same
so
same मुझे पता से
I was thinking like
yeah
Madrid has too many problems right now.
so no, the basically so they keep building their squads every
right
year.
right
So we have been struggling in that department, and obviously we didn't have a director of football. So I
Yeah.
think वो
True.
बड़ा
I
बड़ा
think that
help
was
हुआ था
that
हमें.
was a very big problem. Michael Edwards छोड़ के चला गया. We then got
वो स्ट्रक्चर वो पूरा टूट
Julian
गया.
Ward
अब
हाँ
तो कोई कुछ वो स्टेबिलिटी कुछ था
exactly.
नहीं.
Hmm.
तो
And
कोई
I don't think Julian Ward was a sporting director. He was like bumped into that position. Like
yeah
he
because it
wasn't
was vacant
Fast track
and
किया गया था उसको.
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Anukash, what do you think exactly was the hampering thing that kept us from competing from trophies or top four in that regard as well?
see it was a lot of things and एक चीज मैं बोलूंगा मतलब again might be an unpopular opinion I think मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ of course I am not saying that was the prime reason but part of the blame is also down a bit to the manager. I'll tell you why. है ना? And मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ Klopp obviously like जितना I guess certain countries में certain politicians रहते हैं I think Liverpool fans के लिए वो Klopp है ठीक है ना बिल्कुल एकदम लोग सड़क पर उतर आएंगे types. But the fact is that for me there were times when he resisted too much with say someone like Milner or Henderson at a point when things were not working out. Fabinho when he was giving an absolute shit show. मुझे लगा at some certain points of time when Klopp really needed to make those certain changes and not do that sort of favoritism because see I know things that were not in our hand like injuries of course right as Anmol bhai and Roshan bhai pointed out about the changes in the backroom staff Julian Ward ka jana and then there were Mike Gordon kabhi I think kuch tha he just stepped back from the role and there were other things also going on right but what I felt was that at certain points of time like sticking with Trent at right back like I think the whole transition the whole positional shift that happened maybe Klopp should have tried that a bit earlier or when say the 4-4-2 that we were having in बीच में जब रेंजर्स वगैरह के साथ खेल रहा था 4-4-2 ट्राई किया था क्लॉप ने जब आईएस से भी जीते थे एलियट स्कोर्ड इन दैट मैच तब आई थिंक 4-4-2 was doing a decent job maybe I think that stubbornness with 4-3-3 or maybe जब वो वाला टाइम था कि when I felt that there was too much pressure on Nunez to be scoring all the goals. I just think at certain points of time, जैसे I always felt that Gakpo and Nunez would work together really well because I don't see Nunez as a forward who maybe is able to get past players so well. But I know for one thing कि अगर Nunez को shot मारने का मिलेगा, he is very good at hitting those shots. He has a very good
Makes
shot
sense.
power.
Yep.
So
Good.
I just feel that ये सब चीजें थी ना, those sort of things maybe could have happened.
Sure.
And Jota for that matter, I think it was great. Like what Klopp did with Jota at the end of the season, persisting, that was a very, very good move. It
See,
turned out well.
See, that's
अरे
a good word.
और एक
That's a
चीज
good
है.
Roshan. Before I just
हाँ.
want to add one point in Anukash what he said. You mentioned Klopp persisting with Milner, Henderson, and kind. Don't you think he was just utilizing the best of the resources available at his disposal in that particular situation? Because we had a pretty thin squad, and
I don't think
if
so.
not, okay,
Because talking about Anur Kashyap's point, also the stubbornness, he's been stubborn with the players as well.
Yeah.
Because
And
I
even
don't know
positions also.
what the reason
Hmm.
with Fabio Carvalho was
all
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
at the end, and this we have been seeing this in the previous seasons as well with for some
Right.
players. So I think that is a big factor because if Carvalho is an attacking player, and if
Hmm.
he would have played most of the games, he could have because he scored, I think, in the Newcastle game
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
when we
90 plus 8.
yeah.
Hmm.
आई
So
थिंक उसका एक रीजन ये भी हो सकता है कि मे बी ही रियलाइज दैट व्हाट Fabio Carvalho gives him is not unique to what he has currently. Like he could be he uh,
Makes sense.
I I genuinely think if he was a good player and let's say agar if he had all the traits that Klopp wanted him to show, I think he could have been like जैसे Robertson को भी sign किया था तो we didn't play him immediately. हम लोग November तक हमने wait किया for him to get to the pace of it and then get onto the pitch. I just feel like again, he's a stubborn manager, but a fair assumption ये भी हो सकता है कि he was just not the type of player he wanted. He thought
Yeah.
he was getting something and then in training and probably he might not fit into what he wanted to do. And unfortunately for him also, I guess like Harvey Elliott had more faith, like he had more faith in Harvey Elliott than him. Like technically दोनों similar age के players हैं, and so थोड़ा weird है कि how he got treated, but it just could be that he just didn't have enough confidence in him to be like अच्छा मैं इसको डाल के he could be the center of it, because eventually we played with Bajcetic who is still young.
Yeah.
Same age, right? So एक वो, and I think another stubbornness is कि वो कोई भी player को कहीं भी खिलाता है. Like he gets into Brendan Rodgers thing, मतलब जहाँ पे नूनेस लेफ्ट विंग में खेल रहा है उसका है ही नहीं भाई लेफ्ट विंगर, ही इज नॉट रियली
हाँ.
गुड एट.
उसको
Yeah.
I think most of the season उसको वही खिला है.
हाँ एग्जैक्टली.
Right.
वो प्रॉब्लम था, हाँ.
अरे मेरे को लगता है कि उसने बेनफिका वाला मैच जो अपने साथ खेला ना, उसने लेफ्ट विंग पे ही खेला था सॉर्ट ऑफ, उधर से 3 गोल मार दिया भाई के दिमाग में कि ये यहीं खेले. So he's not he's just striker, he's like proper
Yeah.
number 9, he has to
उसके
be
वो
in the
क्या
center.
pace है, I think he wants to use his pace
I think that's
and
that's
get
where
behind
people say
the
he misses
full
Mane.
backs.
Ki Mane had a lot of pace on the left wing
Yeah,
because
true.
because then we didn't have Diaz, right? So Diaz hota hai, तो then left wing is completely Diaz. Like
Completely, yeah.
it's his. Jota में pace नहीं है कि वो किसी defender को like he can take on a defender. तो I guess maybe just because of availability of players. But then जब हमारे पास players थे भी तब भी काफी बार वो left wing पे खेला है, which I don't get it. So.
Like quickly moving on to, like, it's a difficult season, we all know, but there has to be one player of the season candidate.
I think let's
And
move on to the
Alisson.
next question. We have
Uh,
Alisson, like it's
Alisson.
yeah,
Dude,
okay.
I-
Do you all agree that it's Alisson? Do you have any other
Obviously.
candidate for the same?
No, अरे एलिसन नहीं होता तो हम लोग अभी 11th फिनिश करते और
we would be with
हाँ.
Chelsea.
Thoughts on Salah's season, because he's quietly had a semi-good season based on his standards, like
It's a
30
it's a
goals
good season.
in a season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Decent, yeah.
Yeah.
ठीक है.
Yeah,
See,
right.
the thing with Salah is that his finishing is very frustrating. Like even in a good
Yeah.
season, even a very good season, his finishing and decisiveness is very frustrating. Like
From
वो
10 good chances, like very good chances, he'll score 2.
Right,
Okay. Yeah.
And he's
His com-
capable of scoring all 10.
more,
वैसा है.
right.
Hmm.
So and also काफी सारे one on one उसने इस season miss किए, which you would think that he would score. So
Southampton
I think-
वाला even for
हाँ,
that.
exactly.
Last match ही था ना Southampton.
हाँ.
Exactly. Yeah.
one on
No,
one
the,
miss
I
किया
think
मैंने.
उसके पहले था वो home game.
जो
कौन सा था?
एनफील्ड पे भी था उधर भी.
हाँ, उधर भी मिस किया था. I think Anfield पे भी मिस किया था.
तो those kind of one on ones, and then वो जो यश वाला है पिछले 10 साल से ट्राई कर रहा है वो he cuts into and
Yeah.
then tries to bend it in the far corner.
Robin style.
Yeah, trying to be Iron Robin. So I think we all collectively agree on something, because last time मेरा Klopp का point तो like 3-1 था, but it's finally good that it's like all four of us agree that Alisson Becker has been player
I
of the
think
season.
Hands down.
साला का एक चीज मैं बोलूंगा,
Yeah,
साला
no.
I felt at times this season was like that. पेरेंट जो जो बच्चे को जरूरत होती है सबसे ज्यादा, उसको अबैंडन करके चले जाता है. दैट्स हाउ आई फेल्ट ही वाज एट लिवरपूल सीजन व्हेन थिंग्स वर वर्किंग आउट. साला वाज देयर, पर जब देयर वर टाइम्स इन सीजन जब न्यूनियस नहीं चल रहा था, फर्मिनो वाज आल्सो इंजर्ड एंड नॉट परफॉर्मिंग इतना वेल, डियाज गॉट इंजर्ड, जोटा गॉट इंजर्ड, तब आई थिंक लिवरपूल नीडेड साला द मोस्ट. एंड तब we
Yeah,
were losing, and उस time पे साला wasn't, you know, performing
Right,
to those levels.
exactly.
And I understand it's like expecting maybe too much out of a player, but that is the thing. We have put Salah at times in the same category, at least as Liverpool fans, in the Ronaldo Messi category at times. तो हमारी वो expectation भी उससे वही रहती है at times जब ऐसा होता
I
है.
feel like Salah needs to change something in his game. Like it is too predictable that
It's
he
now
will take you on.
defenders can read his
yeah,
game very
yeah,
well.
yeah. That is true.
You can't
Yeah.
keep
One-dimensional game.
exactly, you can't keep taking on the player. Maybe you could say that इस season ऐसा कोई नहीं था कि like he could do one touch passing and has the confidence. तो वो भी अपन नहीं कह सकते. But again, in general, just Salah's gameplay, he needs to improve his finishing much better, because
Yeah.
Liverpool के साथ problem throughout the seasons has been the ruthlessness in front of goal, where you have the
True.
chance,
Yeah.
we haven't scored, and that is the reason we are here right now. Like हमने the matches we lost could have been drawn, and the matches we drew could have been won, just because of our finishing also. Just in
I know
general.
we will discuss transfers later,
Yeah.
but I think someone like Asensio, who's a free agent, would have been a very good backup to Salah, just to provide that wee bit of more competition. That's what I
Like-
always feel.
Like I wanted to briefly talk about our defensive situation as well, because we talked about Gakpo, we talked about Jota, Salah, Nunes, we have talked about midfield as well. Thoughts on our midfield, like a defensive situation. We have had a horrendous season from Joe Gomez to the point where people have completely lost all confidence in him. I can see Anukar Shaw, trying to control his emotions.
I think like, we should start this with, because we have had defense talks as well. But defense, maybe haven't, I think throughout the season, we haven't spoken about Robertson. Like, if
Okay.
you see
I-
Robertson, like, what are your thoughts on Robertson's season?
Yeah, you can start with.
He had a very average season, to be honest. Like
Because we have only spoken about Van Dijk,
Trent.
Konate, Gomez.
technically,
We
if you
haven't
look at
mentioned Robertson like in any
Even-
of the
To be
podcasts.
honest, the reason why Robertson isn't mentioned is because his hard work is always seen in a game. Like he
You-
keeps running
he-
up and down, regardless of, sometimes like a headless chicken, if that's the
But I've
terminology.
seen that this season he has like lost his man a lot of times. And he
Yeah,
also considered
yeah,
goals.
true.
that, and also his crossing a bit, like after the season when both of our left backs have had 10 and 11 assists, like that season that we did not win, but we
I
had
think-
a really good season. Let's say Trent also has probably 10 assists this season after coming into the midfield. I'm not really sure if that was a stat or not.
Like
but-
Anmol, who do you rate had a better season? Like, I know both had semi-average seasons, but Trent versus Robertson, like, forget Trent's resurgence in his new midfield kind of position. Like, prior to that, do you think both were equally average, or do you pick one over the other regardless?
I think Trent's resurgence, because of Trent's resurgence, I would pick Trent's season.
Yeah,
Because
same.
his new role helped us win games and score goals.
Yeah.
So
I think the other thing with Robertson is also his one dimension.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
Same.
I mean, again, like he has to do more of those goals. Remember, usne one touch pass. I don't remember the team exactly. Usne one touch pass kiya, and then he ran into the midfield and then kept running to get that score. Abhi exactly team yaad nahi aa raha mujhe. But
चैंपियंस लीग वाला बता रहे हो आप?
चैंपियंस लीग था क्या? मैड्रिड था क्या वो?
नहीं, एक
Madrid के सामने
चैंपियंस लीग में वो जब ट्रेंट के साथ उसने वन टच किया था, और एक बार ये होता था फर्मिनो को उसने क्रिस्टल पैलेस के अगेंस्ट किया था व्हेन वी वन 7-0 or something like that.
I think उस बिल्डअप में ट्रेंट भी था, if I remember correctly, but like that kind of thing we need from him is that he has to be the player who is outlet for something tangible आगे. Like he can't
Okay.
just keep running up and down.
Yeah, that's
and
the
then
reason.
और एक प्रॉब्लम ये है कि he has a good left foot, but he never finishes well. Like जब वो हमेशा बॉक्स में आता है ना, he has very few goals. And if you historically see, all the really good left backs have always been in assists and goals themselves. So like Marcelo and these kind of players. So if you like Robertson is a good player, but like if you have to be like a goat kind of a left back, yeah, exactly. He's not an elite left back. He has to do that continuously, and that's the whole problem with Robertson. Like I just
he'll
feel
put in average performance like 6.5 performances
exactly,
in every
like
game.
those 6.5 performance are constant. Like they're not that 8 or a 9 from him. All
just put your hand on your heart and say ki chalo, even the season that we won, can you name some of the performances that were just Robertson? Like on the pitch, you're like,
I think only one match that City 4-3 game where
was that one.
Yeah, that was
the other game I particularly remember is वो Aston Villa की game जो 2-1. That was one in my memory. But if you ask me to name a second one, I might struggle. I am struggling, to be honest.
So that is so again the thing is कि वो काम चला लेते हैं, वो चल जाता है, but we want more, you know, like if Liverpool has to be there, like with Trent, you know what you're getting. With Robertson, initially he was good at tracking back and he was good at crosses, but recently he has dipped in both, like where he hasn't been crossing the ball that well, and he has also been losing his man. So
there has to be a conversation when Shimika sometimes when he comes on puts in much decent performances compared to Robertson as well. So the reason why I feel like Robertson has, you know, kind of a place, like he owns that left back spot, something what Trent.
I think like coming on to a point, I think someone who has missed Mane a lot is Robertson. I think हमने Klopp की बात की starting, but more than Klopp, more than Liverpool.
Good
because
point.
I think with Nunez, he didn't seem in sync. Even with Diaz, तो चलो मैं बोलता थोड़ा he is
I
maybe
think वो भी
getting
बोल रहे थे
into
ना
it.
कि the language issue है, like
The language issue, yeah. And I saw a lot of times this season something which I didn't really like was that Robertson having a go at Nunez for, you know, not understanding what he was, the pass he was wanting to execute or something. See, the thing is, first of all, Nunez isn't a left winger. Okay, first of all, and then suddenly with the language barrier and all, and for him to expect to, you know, automatically connect. Mane had played with Robertson there for a long time, so they had that chemistry. But but this time it wasn't there that Nunez didn't know that, you know, Robertson was at the back of him making runs or something like that. So I just felt that there wasn't that connection, that sort of telepathic connection between say someone like Diaz and Robertson or Nunez
so are you like indirectly trying? Are you like indirectly trying to say that let's give Robertson and Nunez a one more year kind of a thing? But first of all, you are against Nunez playing on the left in the first place.
Exactly. I think Diaz with Robertson with time will form a good partnership. Yeah, that's what I feel. But I think it will take time because like Rome wasn't built a day, so wasn't Mane and Robertson's partnership on the left.
Yeah,
it took time for that, and that's what I feel. Like जैसे Trent और Salah की थी एक time पे right side of Liverpool's play में, उसमें that's what I feel, that it will take time, but eventually it should come.
Well, we are 40 minutes into this podcast now, and Anukash, we are finally at the point where you are the most excited to talk about, and something which I completely hate talking about. But let's address the elephant in the room. Transfers, massive outgoings, huge shoes to fill, not only for their impact on the pitch, but their impact off the pitch as well. I'm not talking about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain here. But yeah, let's briefly talk about the outgoings first. Anmol, Roberto Firmino, no words to describe him whatsoever.
I think legend. Yeah.
कोई चंदा मेरे बजा दो please background.
Yeah, But the thing, but the reason why, like I brought up Firmino straight away is that we have massive gaping hole he'll leave in our attack. But attack is not our priority when it comes to reinforcements, and we are going with midfielders. Three of
I,
them: Alexis
I
McAllister, Manu Kone, and Kepham Thuram. Sorry.
Thuram.
Yeah, Roshan.
see,
Thoughts on these three players first, or
see.
whatever. Yeah.
I mean, we are glad that we got Bobby for as long as we could because
Yeah.
पहले सीजन में ब्रेंडन रॉजर्स ने उसको कहाँ नहीं खिलाया है. Like he
Trial and error.
had basically a janitorial position wherever he could go and do something like पोछा मार दिया, झाड़ू पोछा कर दिया, like sort of he manhandled, and so you could clearly see that Roberto Firmino was a club signing rather than a manager signing. And I'm glad that the transition to Klopp Klopp realized, and also I think he was familiar with him when he was at Hoffenheim, so he knew what Bobby could give us. And just to see him get into this role, giving us 2 great years of हमेशा top 3 forwards बोलते हैं ना, जैसे MSN था. So in the MSN era, we had Mane, Salah, and Firmino. For 2 good years, they were the best forwards in the Europe.
Yeah,
More,
makes sense.
3 years.
3 years.
Even the year we lost the
Champions League final, yeah.
Right.
year when they were together.
17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20. Yeah.
But
I think
Anmol,
that
who
is
do
the
you
season when all three of them scored the most goals.
Most
in
goals,
Champions
yeah.
League.
I
Anmol,
think
who do you
Coutinho था तो they were scoring a lot. Like जब I remember
Yeah.
Coutinho.
He was
Right.
like the
Yeah,
creative
Coutinho.
force, yes.
But
But
एक चीज मैं बोलूंगा for Firmino, again, like I feel we did get a apt signing in Gakpo because he does what Firmino does.
yeah,
Exactly
this is
the same
the point I wanted to make. Like who, like you have already answered that the question to my answer is Gakpo, but I was actually going to say, do you see Gakpo as a Firmino replacement or Nunes as a Firmino replacement?
So
No.
no.
Gakpo.
So Gakpo, and the thing is with Gakpo, let's say if there is someone who is playing deeper, then Gakpo can play complete center forward. He has that ability to finish, and he is really good inside the box. He understands that. And let's say if we want to go attack heavy, जैसे हमने काफी सारे matches में देखा है where Jota or Diaz starts from the left, Nunes in the middle, Salah on the right, and then number 10-ish role mein you have Gakpo who goes deep and gets the ball.
I was about to say
And
that.
the other thing is Gakpo might not have the footwork necessarily, but he has the body strength. तो हमेशा player को move कर लेता है और he doesn't get tackled very easily. Like
Yeah.
He can control the ball very well.
Like Bobby was quick with his feet and quick with passing. So his
Brazilian magic.
exactly. So Gakpo doesn't exactly give you that. Like the ability wise, he does not give you that. But in terms of what
gives you that drive.
Exactly.
A different game. A
He
different
receives
Like
the ball and then moves forward very easily, and he doesn't get tackled. I have seen him go for the ball. Like you can't shoulder push that guy at all. Like इतना strong है ball पे.
It's very difficult to get the ball out of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like the main elephant in the room right now is our midfield, because we are losing James Milner, Naby Keita, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. 3 of the players who you might not consider to be first team regulars, but they were there up and around the team, Milner in particular. And we are getting close to bringing in Alexis McAllister from Brighton. And I want to touch on him first because for a player like below in a region of 60 million odd, it's one of the brilliant signings. World Cup winner, can play in attacking midfield, can play in central midfield. Have seen Graham Potter and Roberto De Zerbi use him as a defensive midfield also, if you want, provided Firmino's form stays intact or goes downhill again. So coming to Alexis McAllister, what are your initial thoughts? I'm sure like people are buzzing. Do you think he's the ideal player to fit into this Liverpool team?
I mean, can I answer this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think this summer, this is reminding me of that summer after the Karius final. You remember
Oh,
when
all of a
Chelsea
sudden
came in?
Fabinho आ गया था.
Yeah, Fabinho आया, Keita आया, and Nabil
हाँ.
Fekir आने वाला था उसी season. I don't remember the exact pronunciation. Yeah, and I think at that point of time he was a good player. He was a very very good player, and I think he would have been decent. So इस बार वही trend हो रहा है. 3 midfielders almost came that season. And
Yeah.
this time around, I also kind of say, मतलब Shaqiri also came. Shaqiri also played in midfield at times. So technically, yes, it did. So I think this time also it's going to be the same trend. I personally see McAllister, Thuram, and Kone coming in, and I think that would be the perfect pre-wedding gift for Roshan Bhai. And more than that, I really feel that it's very much required because that sort of competition in midfield, that sort of control
Mhm.
is much needed. And what McAllister provides is set piece threat, something which we don't have on the pitch when Trent isn't around. I mean,
Makes sense.
especially from direct free kicks. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that is something which we could add to our repertoire.
And
And
also, I think he's good in penalties also. So, like in
yeah,
case, like we
Yeah.
Milner was really good in penalties, and Salah has a tendency to miss. So we have someone who we can trust. Sorry,
yeah.
uncut.
And I think if you look at it, like McAllister is someone you are getting from what you kind of expected Oxlade-Chamberlain to be doing. Like,
Good.
Jab
Yeah.
Chamberlain didn't have that injury, he was kind of doing that. And Thuram is someone I guess you expect something you expected Keita to be doing. Kone is something you expected say Fabinho to be doing. So I think it's very much of a very much of a similar vibe, and
Is
which
he?
like
Is
we have
by the way,
experienced.
sorry to cut you off. Is he Liliam Thuram's son? Is he like the brother to
Nahin,
who was
nahin,
that? Who was
nahin.
that
Nahin,
French forward?
he
I
was
think it is Marcus Thuram or something like
हाँ
that. He's
हाँ I think
different.
Marcus Thuram is हाँ
Yeah.
the
Oh,
Marcus
okay.
Thuram the forward is I
अरे
guess.
ये
He's
वो वाला है
yeah.
यार, ये मंडी
He
प्रॉब्लम
is
है.
Lilian Thuram's son.
No, he
ये
हाँ
is Liliam Thuram's son, isn't he?
oh,
They are like two brothers, right? Like
oh,
Marcus
अच्छा वो नहीं
Thuram
पता,
and
वो नहीं
Yeah,
पता था
Mark.
कि ये भाई.
I have no idea.
अरे but I would say it is
oh
very
yes,
much.
yes, yes. Both they are brothers. Oh wow.
अच्छा तो अरे ये मेंडी प्रॉब्लम है, पता है सब लोग मेंडी बोलते हैं, अरे कौन सा मेंडी.
There is Mendy problem. There's a Dembele problem.
There was an
There-
Elara Mendy also at
अरे
Real
there
back
is a
Yeah.
in
Fo-
time.
Iri-
there's
There's
a
a
Fo- there's a Fofana problem too, पता है ना.
हाँ वैस हाँ
बहुत सारे Fofana.
That the Fofana.
पॉगबा प्रॉब्लम था पर वो सब बेकार थे इसलिए doesn't matter. But yeah, coming back to your point, sorry, I was just caught in the trivia that apparently yes, he is the son of
Yes.
Liliam Thuram.
क्या बात.
So yeah, you can come back to your point if you still remember that.
नहीं but like I really feel that midfield signings अगर ऐसे होते कोने Thuram and McAllister comes in that would be great. But हाँ, I really feel like someone like someone who can come in at center back is much required because Joe Gomez, my God, I don't want to see that guy playing again for Liverpool. Please,
But
I agree with Roshan भाई, Nat Phillips खिला देते रियाल के अगेंस्ट, नेपोली के अगेंस्ट. भैया
मैं
सच्ची बता रहा हूँ, मुझे देखना नहीं है साउथहैम्पटन के अगेंस्ट. He got absolutely manhandled. I swear, guys, I'm about to abusively. I will stop speaking, but seriously, it was so bad, so fucking bad. I mean, seriously,
ये
man,
क्लिप
what
करके
has
रखना,
happened?
ये क्लिप करके रखना, और जब when he makes a Curtis Jones kind of resurgence next season ना, तो यही play करेंगे वापस.
It's on camera.
इंडिया फुटबॉल पॉडकास्ट से सारे में देखो फॉलोअर्स के कम हो रहे हैं.
अरे
But
but
yeah,
I think it is you can't blame him क्योंकि he hasn't gotten enough chances to
Enough
play.
time, yeah.
And he
yeah,
has come back from a big injury. It is always difficult. Van Dijk also had
हाँ
a sort of a torrid time. Hopefully the preseason is good for us, and then he plays regularly in preseason. But to be honest, एक defender तो चाहिए, because if you're talking about Joe Gomez, Matip is in the same region. Like
yeah.
Matip has completely lost his head. Like क्या करता है वो बंदा. He has only one thing. He goes and squares up with the defender. वो defender cutely उसको maneuver करके निकल जाता है, and then he doesn't have the pace to track back. So I think यार एक को वैन डाइक को रख लेना चाहिए था, लाइक समबडी, या ईबू को रख लेना चाहिए। दोनों जो गोमेस और मैटिप जब मैंने देखा ना, मैं बोला आज तो पढ़ने वाले हैं, 2-3 गोल तो पड़ेंगे।
4 पड़े।
चार पड़ गए।
अरे 4-2
You
मारने के
you
बाद
know
पड़े यार।
you know things are bad when Adam Armstrong of all people gets on the score sheet.
Yeah, Sulemana was having such a fun
अरे
run. He was
but he played
scored.
really well though. The
Yeah,
second goal
he
was
was good. But Adam Armstrong, I don't rate him. That's why I mentioned his name particularly. But yeah, coming to the three midfielders which we are about to sign, do you think, like, my point is that Klopp usually doesn't bring a player straight into the starting 11, a new signing. I think we all know that he took his time with Fabinho. He took his time with who was it?
I think
Sorry.
Robertson.
Robertson. I think he had to use Gakpo because of Luis Diaz and Jota's injury. That is the reason why he was fast track into the starting 11.
But
But
I
do you think?
think
Yeah, go ahead.
McAllister will start though. Like McAllister might be there from game one
I
because
think pre-season होगा तो I
हाँ,
think
वो good point है. हाँ.
preseason भी होगा, and the other thing is I don't think Brighton in this season in their hype played any different than Liverpool did. Like they play a more dynamic style of play, constantly moving, continuously running. So if you think about it, he comes from a very similar background of what Brighton
हाँ.
has done. So he might not need that much of priming to come into Liverpool, and also with considering midfield
What?
issues, if you have to keep Henderson away from the midfield, then he has to start. So ideally, it would be like McAllister, Fabinho, and then Trent moving into the midfield, and that would be the three.
What shirt number would you give him? 10, 8, 7?
10.
10 दे दो
10.
यार.
10 दे दो. हाँ, मैं भी वही सोच रहा था.
Why not? It
हाँ.
has been there for a while. Coutinho जैसा player हमको मिला है.
Mane was 10, ना? Mane was 10.
Mane took
Yeah.
10.
Mane was 10. हाँ.
Sorry यार.
So yeah,
I think McAllister का भी वही वाइनाल्डम वाला कटेगा कि वो आएगा, उससे रहेगा बहुत अटैकिंग खिलाएगा, फिर क्लॉप विल टेल हिम नो, तो मिडफील्ड में जाओ,
थोड़ा
तुम
पीछे,
defensive बहुत ज्यादा
हाँ,
कर रहे हो।
बहुत
I
आगे
think-
की घूमने की जरूरत
ये
है.
season we have missed a player like Wijnaldum
हाँ, अरे यार.
because
That is so
every
true.
match give a 7 out of 10 performance.
Yes.
No injuries, no कोई
Exactly, man.
nothing fancy. You play your game, bus.
अरे
Anmol, you love Wijnaldum, don't you? You mention him like every time you
No,
come on a.
I think it's based on his performances, his stability
Yes.
in midfield, and
No,
which we have missed this season.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the reasons why I mentioned him so much.
Yeah. No, I was just pulling your leg. Nothing.
No.
But I do know one person from Liverpool FC Ahmedabad group that really loves Wijnaldum. Not take name.
Yeah, Yash.
नहीं. Ashutosh's best friend. In the old group, like not
Oh,
old
okay,
group, the
okay.
second group में एक बंदा है. For I mean, this sarcastically, like हम लोग सब genuinely Wijnaldum fans हैं, और वो
Yeah.
like every time he's on this team sheet, he's like अरे यार, and like literally, you know, let's say Fabinho ने खराब खेला, assuming that like वैसे Fabinho ने खराब खेला तो it's on Wijnaldum. Like Henderson ने बेकार खेला तो अरे Wijnaldum की वजह से. So
I
he
think
was a nice scapegoat.
I can
Yeah.
kind of resonate because मुझे वाइनाल्डम की वैल्यू तब रियलाइज हुई when he left the club. When
Exactly.
he was playing with the, I was always like that, you know, he could do a lot better, because I think I really liked Wijnaldum when he arrived in his first season, because he was scoring goals. He was also, you know,
Newcastle.
But
contributing
if
that
you
a lot.
look at it, the season he came from, like Newcastle में, he was more forward. Like technically,
हाँ,
he
he
was
scored four.
and
Attacking
even,
midfield.
even
Four
for
goals एक
Netherlands,
बार.
exactly.
हाँ,
like,
Norwich
even
के
for
सामने.
Netherlands, he plays much
Attacking
more
mid.
higher. Yeah, exactly, much more higher than
See,
what.
see the reason, like the good thing about Wijnaldum is we plucked him out of the championship. Do you think we should do the same with Yuri Tillemans? पता नहीं उसका, why are we not doing that with him?
James
I
Ward-Prowse
think
को ले लो.
he's not the same player anymore, na, Yuri Tillemans.
But
If
do
you
you-
actually,
Yeah,
if
but
you, like,
If you want to take Madison, but the only thing is he has
Yeah.
been injured a little bit, so
Yeah.
उसका कितना
I
fitness पे
think
आएगा.
with Madison and Tielemans, na, like I used to really rate them, but if you look at Leicester's midfield, na, they don't have control at all. Like
I mean, they
उनकी-
don't have Kante's control, you know. Like,
हाँ,
Yeah.
that is
I know,
much
but
important.
like basic control एक midfield में होता है ना, like I think they like that. उनका वो है कि वो incisive passes, वो attacking plays हो जाएगी. but they don't have that control in midfield. And
Well,
I feel that that is one of the reasons कि अगर Tielemans और Madison आएंगे तो फिर it won't really help Liverpool's cause because
And
अगर वो
also,
मैं
sorry, like if you look at
हाँ
it, like Tielemans would have been a sasta replacement for McAllister. Let's say अगर FSG
हाँ
और
अगर
cheapy
हाँ
हो जाता तो so
हाँ
you can't pin two players who are similar, right? And
right.
assuming Thiago comes back from his injury and McAllister needs some rest, so we already have Thiago in whatever shape or form we have. So I
but
think Tielemans के जगह, if you really want somebody to take, I would say James Ward-Prowse, because we need that kind of like box to box like
energy,
Henderson. Exactly, हेंडरसन की जगह अगर तुम किसी और को खिलाना चाहते हो, और let's say some games need that kind of a player, I think
yeah,
Ward-Prowse is good because he's good in set piece also. So that way Trent is not completely like he's not doing corners. Let's say like Ward-Prowse can be given corners. He's good in penalties also.
and
Another
and
thing.
Ward-Prowse has leadership qualities in him as well.
Exactly. Yeah. He could be like he could actually be like Henderson. Like, and
Yeah,
Henderson.
true.
Another Southampton
Yeah,
player.
yeah, yeah. Southampton मार डालेगा हम लोग
I also
को.
feel
I think
that as Liverpool fans like up ना because हमें कम budget की आदत हो गई है वरना honestly our goals should be players like Bellingham or Barella for that matter because those are the
yeah.
players that should
See,
be coming to
see,
Liverpool FC.
see, glad you mentioned Bellingham, and it took like 55 minutes, but here we go. Do you think like some of Liverpool fans, and including myself, are kind of not too dejected by the fact that Bellingham's not coming because A, he would have cost a lot, and B, when you have to revamp an entire midfield, spending too much on just one player instead of using that same budget and spreading it across 2 or 3 players is much more wise thing to do. Do you
See,
agree with that? Because I completely agree with that notion.
यार
I
it
mean
is,
I
sorry
हाँ
sorry,
आप बताओ
मैं बस एक ही देर ये कह रहा था कि यूनाइटेड might be getting Mason Mount for more than McAllister, so
See,
just like
there you go.
50 million, yeah.
yeah
वो तो इंग्लिश
I
टैक्स है यार.
इंग्लिश टैक्स तो वैसे भी
हाँ
है क्योंकि जूड
हाँ,
बेलिंगम इज
और
इंग्लिश
obviously
प्लेयर.
Chelsea से जा रहा है, so rival है.
चेल्सी टाइटल राइवल से जा रहा है ना.
एग्जैक्टली.
ऑन पेपर, यस.
see
So
my
हो गया,
I'm
नहीं
so
नहीं,
sorry
done.
हाँ आप बताओ
हो गया.
the thing is I actually have a very strong opinion on this Leo like I have been so
No, go
much
ahead, go ahead.
about it. See, what I feel is that what Liverpool will lack a few years down the line, maybe a couple of years down the line, is that sort of Gerrard या फिर like मैं Henderson को obviously player compare नहीं कर रहा Gerrard से, पर Gerrard और Henderson की जो captaincy है ना, that sort
Leadership.
of role, that leadership, exactly, leadership is the word I was looking for. I think that sort of leadership, I think with all due respect, जितना मैं देखा and I'm not being racist, वो maybe from an English player ही आ सकती है, because that's what I've been conditioned to watch, at least as a Liverpool fan
I
all
think
these years.
more than English players, it's players who understand the club.
Exactly. And I think
Like
Bellingham is 19 at this point. मतलब for
Yeah.
this matter,
Yeah.
and like if someone like him can really develop, and I understand, like I do agree with when you guys say that if you don't have that sort of budget, then it makes sense, like investing, not putting all the money in the same pot, and
Yeah.
maybe regretting it, because Bellingham has those issues with his knee and all, since he has played a lot of matches. People say that he might start declining, जैसे Rooney करेगा था around 30-31. See, here's the deal. What I feel is that if a club like Liverpool, I think this is the summer when that sort of investment should have been available. कि अगर Bellingham भी आ रहा है, तब भी हमारे पास से players like Kone या फिर Thuram, like ऐसे sort of players भी आ पाए उसके अलावा, because let's face it, we do need those star signings. Van Dijk, if you look at it, आज की डेट में से लिवरपूल स्पेंड कर दिए. It doesn't make sense 75 million pounds spend करना जब लिवरपूल का नेट स्पेंड 75 million pounds नहीं होता है on one defender when the whole defense was in shambles at that point of time. Stafford, Lovren, पता नहीं इलोरी एक प्लेयर हुआ करता था, ये सब प्लेयर्स थे.
Thiago Ilori.
It didn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, Thiago Ilori. It didn't make a lot of sense, but look how that turned out. It made us from top 4 के लिए challenge करने वाले team to title contenders.
See,
So I
but the
think
thing is,
I would
see, but the
probably
thing is,
get Bellingham in a non-World Cup year. So all the 50 million extra that is there,
World Cup tax.
exactly.
World Cup tax plus
If
English tax.
Agar
English
if
tax.
it was a non-World Cup year, he would probably be going around 70, 80, max 100.
हाँ.
See,
So
But
if
I
it
think he is going for 80, I think, but everything else is add-ons. That's what
yeah,
I've
yeah,
heard.
yeah.
okay, but okay, like let's say
But
that's what I'm saying. If I was going for, and like, look at the irony here, right? Like a World Cup winner is going for half of what he's going.
basically, yeah,
एक और चीज
exactly.
ये भी है तो I think again there has to be a rational evaluation about like okay what Bellingham brings us and what McAllister brings to the table ऐसे अगर if you want to like compare like that, but I completely agree that we should never be in a position where we have to say no to someone because we can't get them. You can still make a footballing decision in the end कि से ठीक है ये player irrespective of the price tag हमारे playing style में नहीं आता है और
Right.
he doesn't fit in the plan. I agree with that
But
monetary issues shouldn't be something that does not हमने
but
क्या
then
हमने छुट्टा
like
पेपर डाल दिया जैसे ही उसका सीजन खत्म हुआ और फर्स्ट वीक में लिवरपूल इज आउट ऑफ बेलिंगम रेस तो डालने
And one last thing I'll add to that कि problem ये नहीं कि बेलिंगम नहीं आ रहा, problem ये है कि पिछले 2 समर ट्रांसफर विंडो से ना हमने बेलिंगम
वो
आएगा करते
हाइप
हाँ
क्रिएट
करते
कर दिया था.
हाँ
हाँ
true.
हाइप क्रिएट कर दिया तो हमने प्लेयर्स नहीं खरीदे. We didn't buy a proper midfielder because it was like बेलिंगम आएगा. So that is the whole problem.
right
Yeah, but then the midfield issue escalated so high
Quickly.
that so quickly that एक बेलिंगम से काम नहीं चलने वाला था यार. You can't
हाँ.
expect Bellingham to carry Fabinho and Henderson with him based on their current form. Can you? बेचारा
He did
19
play
साल
very
का है
well.
यार.
He
उसका
did
अपना
play very well
नसीब
with
है
Henderson in the World
Yeah.
Cup.
Yeah, see, there you go. हाँ, फिर वो एक साथ सर रख के सेलिब्रेट करना बैठे.
I
but
know.
I think उस केस में we actually got lucky that we didn't have to spend a lot and Trent को move करके we just made it work. Like we didn't have to throw money at that problem
That
and we
is
saved
जुगाड़.
some. वरना अगर हम जनवरी ट्रांसफर में पैसा फेंक के किसी को भी लेके आते हैं, हमने लेके तो आए, वो खेला नहीं एक भी मैच, बट अगर हम किसी और को एज अ शॉर्ट टर्म रिप्लेसमेंट लेके आते देन वी वुडंट हैव बीन स्पेंडिंग दिस ऑन मैकएलिस्टर. लाइक हमारे पास प्रॉब्ली उतना कम होता, 30-40 million would have been lesser for him to come. So I feel like there's some light at the end of the tunnel sort of.
Yeah. But we have spent enough time talking about the midfield recruitment. There have been talks that we might go for a centre back, we might even go for a right back. What position do you think should be considered a priority after midfield? Do you think
Center back?
Oh, I was
Centre
going to
back.
say right back, to be honest.
नहीं ठीक है, राइट बैक वी डोंट नो द कंप्लीट.
Do you then expect Joe Gomez to play right back in case Trent को कुछ हुआ? क्योंकि Calvin Ramsey तो पता नहीं कहाँ है.
He can, like technically Joe
हाँ.
Gomez has the pace to and
Yeah,
he
he
has the
can.
crossing ability,
Yeah.
so he can play.
But the
And
other
as
thing
you-
to keep in mind is we don't have Milner anymore now.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
So-
मतलब 3 जगह और
But
चली
Fabinho
गई.
can because Fabinho used to play right back in
At
Monaco.
At Monaco, yes.
Yeah.
हाँ.
And if need be, I think we just don't know where Calvin Ramsey is at, like in terms of rehab.
Is he in Liverpool still?
Yeah.
मतलब under 23 या ऐसे ही कुछ होगा ना?
Yeah,
We
he
signed
had a
him like he's a signed player.
season-ending injury, na? He has
Yeah.
some growth spurts problem.
Yeah, Messi.
अरे
New-
ये सेम प्रॉब्लम पता है किसको हुआ था? जेस
Messi.
पियरिंग को हुआ था.
Okay.
Like
Oh.
he had the same issue where हम लोग
वो
उसको
भी था,
develop
उसको भी खिला सकते थे. He was signed this season.
हाँ हाँ yeah, I
He
think
played
he,
for under 23.
yeah बुढ़ा. I
But
think
yeah, like
yeah.
एक चीज में लगे like about the right back thing. See, I personally feel is that someone like Timber from
Julian Timber.
Julian Timber would be great, or like एक Inacio player. I think Inacio is how you pronounce it if I'm not wrong. Sporting से I think those sort of signings would be good for Liverpool at this point because I think अब मुझे लगता है जब फिलहाल midfield मतलब जो formation है वो 3-2-2-3 however you want to call it, I think that is something Klopp is going to stick with next season. So it all depends on how he plans to inculcate that ऑल्सो एक अनमोल भाई ने पॉइंट बोला था फेबिनियो को एज अ राइट बैक लाने का, मेरे दिमाग में थॉट आया है बहुत बार, पर मुझे
नहीं, वो
वैसे
तो
लगता है कि
but
जो
that is
हाँ
that is like
हाँ
Worst
हाँ
case
last
एंड आई नो
scenario के
outcome,
हम
हाँ
बात कर
worst
रहे हैं.
आई
scenario
नो हाँ आई नो
if right
हाँ
back injured है तो तब
हाँ and I even I felt that and I think defensively he would do a lot better job than Trent, पर वही है कि I think लिवरपूल के जो फुल बैक्स हैं उनका रोल इतना डिफरेंट है ना,
then
they
the way we
want
play
वो
is different.
हाँ
Yeah.
वही exactly, और plus they need to be really quick, so of course like I think a Timber sort of a signing would be good since Klopp का भरोसा नहीं है वो वापस 4-3-3 भी switch कर ले season
Someone in the chat even suggested Hosco Guardiol, but I think he might be a bit too expensive based on how.
yeah
I personally like he's Italian,
yeah
so he very less chance that he'll come. This guy Bastoni,
Uh,
Inter Milan.
Alexander
Yeah.
Bastoni is oh, I don't remember his name. Inter Milan, na? Inter Milan, right?
हाँ
Inter
Yeah.
Milan.
हाँ very nice player. टॉटनहम से लिंक हुआ है वो काफी ज्यादा ना, he has been in the also
Again Italian, so
also one thing I think I also forgot goalkeeper, if Kelleher goes then what?
यार,
नहीं,
ये
केलेहर जा नहीं रहा है ना, तो क्लॉप
नहीं,
ने वही बोला
rumors
है.
थे.
आज नहीं
He said that if
आज
Adrian.
ही रिपब्लिक आइलैंड के कोच है, मतलब जहाँ का भी नॉर्दर्न आयरिशमैन ने, शायद उसके कोच ने बोला है कि बेलिंगम ने पर्सनली, मतलब बेलिंगम ने sorry, केलेहर ने पर्सनली बोला है कि he might leave लिवरपूल दिस सीजन, एंड आई थिंक एड्रियान को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दे दिया इन लोगों ने, सो आई रियली फील दैट सेकंड
चलो,
चॉइस गोलकीपर इज इंपॉर्टेंट.
I have to bounce, but you guys keep continuing.
Yeah, we are going to, I think, wrap things soon anyway.
हाँ
ठीक है, चलो, I do have to go though.
Yeah, no worries,
yeah
man. Thanks for
Bye.
coming.
Yeah.
Thank you Roshan bhai.
See you guys. Bye.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just feel that a second choice goalkeeper is also very important because गलती से Alisson as good as a goalkeeper as he is, थोड़ी सी कभी-कभी इंजरी प्रॉब्लम्स हो जाती है उसके साथ ना कभी-कभी.
Problem ये है ना, and I think Anmol would agree with this. Getting a good goalkeeper in this day and age is so difficult. Like you can never expect first choice goalkeeper to sit as a backup to Alisson. तो वो option गया. Second option is getting backup goalkeeper means that you are either going to buy a really young goalkeeper or on
an
the
extremely old,
exactly Scott
like almost
Carson kind of a
retired.
player.
Yeah.
हाँ. So और बीच का एक option है Ian Melier from Leeds, but let's not no rumors or anything. I just remembered him altogether, but he has been quite
against Liverpool, so he was very bad na when Liverpool.
In general, he had a very error-prone season in overall. Matlab, so that's another no-no. Matlab, buying goalkeepers in this time is really difficult. I remember like United.
I would love to see someone like Raya or like
I was about to say
Patricio,
Raya would be good.
because
Yeah.
Premier League proven and decent goalkeepers.
Yeah, someone like United did a good business by getting Jack Butland.
Henderson.
Dean Henderson is also
Dean
like
Henderson.
Martin Dubravka on loan. Someone like those people who are not towards their end of their careers, but
Like they can do.
I'd be happy to sit on the bench. And plus, we have Europa League this season, so we might tempt a goalkeeper saying that we are not going to play Alisson in the Europa League. तुम खेल लेना Europa League. तो वो एक अच्छा ऑप्शन है अगर कैलेहर निकल गया है. कैलेहर के लिए भी वो अच्छा ऑप्शन है यार. क्लॉक बोल दे कि भाई तू यूरोपा लीग खेल लेना. And like we are expecting to go deep into the Europa League. Like I'm sure like even though we are not supposed to be in the Europa League, but मेरे को तो पक्का यकीन है रियल मैड्रिड अपने ग्रुप में थर्ड फिनिश करेगा. They'll have a shocker of a season and they'll meet us in the round of 32.
That's going to be Sevilla.
That is good. वो भी है क्या. वो लोग तो थर्ड ही फिनिश करते हैं. वो लोग जान.
But I see Liverpool winning the Europa League very comfortably.
Yeah, like I won't say that because judging by our luck with the draws and shit like that, I want to see what kind of teams finish third in the Champions League. There could be a season where Dortmund finished third. There could be a season like Barcelona have been finishing third for the last two seasons now. So you never know what caliber of sides can play in that league. Juventus finished third. So
and always in Europa and Champions League there are 1-2 teams who are like Napoli, who have this very good season.
Yeah, RB Leipzig.
Leipzig. So they have a very good season and they go on like deep into the competition.
ये रोमा ही ले लो ना, जोसे की रोमा ही ले लो.
हाँ, I think they deserve to win last night. It was so sad to see. Come on,
We talked
man.
about with Anmol, I talked
And
about that.
trust me, although he has been a Chelsea manager and all, Tottenham manager also, but I think it would have been so good, like to see a manager win the Conference League, then the Europa League, and compete in the Champions League next season. I think I would have liked to see that personally. And वो
Yeah.
handball clearly थी यार, come on यार.
हाँ,
Obviously, no wonder वो जाके गालियां दे रहा था उसको, जो referee था.
But do you think like he's such a sore loser in that regard? You don't see any other manager doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get the emotion behind it, what it means, because financially it affects the club a lot.
In
And
the
I know,
moment you get obviously
Yeah,
it affects
okay.
a
yeah,
lot.
I know, and I also see that Mourinho, for that matter, he has had a fairly good budget to spend at clubs like Chelsea, Real, for that matter.
Not at
रोमा
Roma.
में, yeah,
हाँ.
रोमा में उसको दिबाला अगर फ्री एजेंट होता है, वो उसको खुश रहना पड़ता है उससे. एंड द फैक्ट इज कि चैंपियंस लीग में क्लब का जाना जो से सपोज स्टेट फंडेड ना हो, है ना, तो आई थिंक उस क्लब के लिए बड़ी बात है, बिकॉज दे गेट अ लॉट ऑफ मनी आउट ऑफ इट, एंड
Makes sense.
दैट हेल्प्स द स्पॉट टू इन्वेस्ट.
Like before we wrap things up, I think we briefly touched on the Europa League stuff. What are your realistic expectations from next season? Anmol, we shall start with you.
I think since we are on this verge of rebuilding the whole team,
Yeah.
I would say top four definitely.
Minimum.
Minimum top four because
Okay.
I think I would consider this season as a blip. I
All
think
right,
we
yeah,
should be
same.
back, and depending how we start the season, after that I can say like whether we'll be challenging for the title or not. But top four minimum, like that's a requirement.
I would rather say a top 4 is minimum, and like
That
no,
is a minimum
like
requirement.
उसके साथ there is no compromise. मतलब top 4 तो चाहिए ही चाहिए. We can't have 2
Yeah.
seasons without Champions League football, and
I-
at least
I would-
one cup. One
Yeah,
cup.
I would love to go for the Europa League
Because that's
I
the
think
one
that will complete the whole set
yeah.
under Klopp, because
Hmm.
I think after that we would have won I think all the
कॉन्फ्रेंस लीग रह
trophies.
जाएगी बस.
पर उसमें क्वालिफाई नहीं हुए ना. ओ
हाँ.
6 तारीख स्क्रीन ऊपर. हाँ, ओके.
So yeah, League Cup, FA Cup, I don't think if we clear the quarterfinals, I think then we can take them
Yeah,
seriously.
exactly. I think the
But
reason why
otherwise-
Klopp will not take those seriously initially, because we have won it. There is no point in winning them again.
Yeah. Like unless like obviously if we get easy teams and if we end up winning the quarterfinals and we
We united our way into the final.
Yeah, so go deep into the tournaments. I think then obviously those trophies are a bonus, but the first preference should be the Premier League and the Europa League.
Yeah, the reason why Europa League, and Anukash, you said you want us to win Europa League. The reason why Europa League could be tricky is वो Thursday Sunday खेलना पड़ता है ना, वो affect करता है usually league form में. So what do you think about that?
सेकंड टीम खिला लो आई थिंक यूरोपा लीग में ना मेजॉरिटी.
नहीं, पर अगर आप क्वार्टर फाइनल्स या सेमीफाइनल खेल रहे हैं, लेट्स से इट्स सीविया अगेंस्ट, देन दैट डजंट मेक सेंस टू प्ले Kelleher then Alisson has to play Saturday, or sorry, Thursday and Sunday. Van Dijk has to play Thursday and Sunday.
Kelleher in any other Premier League team, barring say Man City वगैरह, would be first choice, because I think Kelleher is, I know Southampton against he made an error or two,
but that was his first game of the league.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he is a very very good goalkeeper. And जहाँ तक एक वो season prediction वाली बात है, slightly controversial, but up the quadruple chasing rates, new season and new start, and I want to go all in for it.
Yeah, that's why I said realistic goals.
Realistic तो quadruple जब आने वाला था तब भी वो realistic लगा नहीं था उससे पहले. So I think we can dream because it's the start of the season. उसके बाद जो होगा देखा जाएगा, and I think with the right signings, things could change.
Let me rephrase my question then. What is the bare minimum? Like I said, top 4. Okay, that's the bare minimum.
One trophy.
Like one trophy has,
is a minimum.
Yeah, like that's a tricky one, because like Europa League जीत भी जाओ ना, तो next season के लिए it gives a boost. You play in the Super Cup and stuff, so that can kickstart the next season as well. So winning Europa League can do wonders in our short term. But yeah,
Yeah.
that things will only say that. I think we have covered all the points. Do you have anything else to add? We have had a very healthy and long conversation.
I think we had a good
I think
That
we have
is
a really healthy conversation.
I
To
think we
be
got
honest,
most of the points. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm glad that an hour and 15 minutes into this, and we have still not blamed FSG in any regards. That's
I mean,
that's
that's
when
See,
you know.
मुझे question,
we
one
can
question
we
I
can
want to ask you both. One question I want to ask you
Yeah,
both.
yeah. Go ahead.
And Anmol bhai, I'll come to you on this. Do you think एक right winger भी required है Liverpool?
I think after this season we would want a
Yeah,
right winger.
Salah के लिए ना.
A good potential replacement for Salah. But I think मैंने देखा है अभी there are not many good
Right
left-footed
wing.
players, left-footed right wingers in the market right now. Olise, ये Crystal Palace वाला, I think if you see,
Mm-hmm.
I can't name others because
I like
वही है
Eze
मतलब
also. I like Eze
Eze,
also from Crystal
Yeah,
Palace.
Bennett.
but
Yeah, those are two
assuming
good players.
तो Dembele बोल सकते हैं but injury record and everything it's very
Like
but
like we
otherwise but heck we need one player who can play on the right
you know
like
that Shaqiri kind of player. He's not a
Yeah.
world beater, but he'll do a job for you. He'll give you the 7, 6.5 kind of performances week in, week out. Yes, his career after we left has gone down a cliff, but that's another thing.
I think Harvey Elliott like Klopp can transform Elliott's position thoda like play by playing him on the wings because he's still young. He's what 17, 18.
Yeah, 18 or
So
19, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, so he can still switch roles and change his positions, but
Mhm.
that like obviously a team decision and how we do the transfer.
Yeah. I think with the revamp and midfield issues that we have had, I think right wing तो बहुत पीछे है priority list पे, I guess. I think it's even behind goalkeeper, second
But
choice
I think
goalkeeper if you ask.
after this season we will sign someone to replace Salah because
Yeah,
Salah
exactly.
is there till 26, I think.
26. So I
Yeah,
think 2024 summer means next summer you were talking about, right?
yeah. So next summer I think we will be signing someone.
Because Salah ka replacement is like he's going to turn 31 this year, 32 next season. So sooner or later we need to sign him like Mane के जैसे करेंगे शायद. Mane को offer आई and we let him go, and then we got like Nunes and Gakpo or stuff like that. So yeah, you never know how our transfer things work. We could have a summer next season where we don't make a signing at all. बोलेंगे कि 150 million इस summer spend किया है. We don't need anyone. You never know. But yeah, that is a problem for future LFC Ahmedabad and Indie Football podcast people. Currently, we are happy that the club is making
Season
moves.
is over.
Yeah, season is over. CSK and Dhoni won 2, and club is moving. Okay, you're a Gujarat fan, Anmol?
I'm not an IPL fan.
Oh, okay. Sorry for mentioning it then. Yeah, but yeah, so we have covered all our points. Thank you, Anukash, for joining.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
And we hope we can have this partnership throughout the summer. I'm sure we'll have a episode when one of the players is official.
Signings.
Yeah, McAllister seems like one who is going to happen the next couple of weeks, maybe next week if we are lucky. So we'll have an episode on him. And yeah, much to look forward to this summer and to the new season as well. So like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you're tuning into all the LFC Ahmedabad content as well as Indie Football Podcast. We'll have links to your Spotify and YouTube both in the comment section. Oh, sorry, in the description box down there. So yeah, that's it. So see you guys. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you.
Bye.